Hello, generals. Before we get started, I just want to remind you to make sure you're showing up to your testing site for both sections. That's the morning and the afternoon. You will have a small break in between the testing to actually just structure yourself. But make sure you go back to the afternoon session and complete both parts. Okay, now let's get started with semicolons. What do these images have in common? Again, talk with your neighbor, pause the video as you talk, and make a guess of how these images are related. Okay, well, you may have guessed that they all probably use semicolons, which was a great one. The Italian printer, Elder, established the practice of using semicolons. Shakespeare is liberal with the use of semicolon in his sonnets, and Ben Jonson was the first notable English writer to use them systematically. So, what is a semicolon? Well, do you think you know? Go ahead and pause the video and give a definition of a semicolon. Unpause when you're done. Okay, you may have said it's a period above, a comma beneath. Is that really what you came up with? Well, let's look at the formal definition. Is it a period and a comma? Why? We could say yes. Let's look at why we use a semicolon. A semicolon is a soft period but a strong comma. A semicolon used in between two sentences indicates that these sentences are thematically connected. A period used in between two sentences indicates proximity, not a connection. Let's look at this example. A semicolon ensures relationship between the sentences. See, semicolon. A period ensures only proximity. Well, where should we use a colon? Let's check out some rules. Here we have two rules here. Again, let's click the eraser to reveal. Well, with the first one, a semicolon, use it when you place in place of a period to separate two sentences where the conjunction has been left out. So let's write that rule down as well as its example. Pause the video for a moment so that you can write these two rules down, but make sure you leave space so that we can write the example below them. Unpause when you're done. Okay, for the first rule, here's an example. Maria is my sister. She is younger to me. We could have said and so the conjunction was left out, so we put a semicolon. With the second rule, it is preferable to use a semicolon before introductory words such as namely, however, therefore, that is, i.e., for example, e.g., or for instance, when they introduce a complete sentence. It is preferable to use a comma after the introductory word. So, for instance, here is one. Jones has not scored adequate marks. Nevertheless, he will get into one of the best colleges. Okay, rule 3 and 4. Again, we're going to erase to reveal. Use a semicolon between two sentences joined by a coordinating conjunction when one or more commas appear in the first sentence. For rule 4, use a semicolon between two sentences where one sentence is an elliptical clause. Again, pause the video until you've written down the rules, and then we'll write the examples right underneath. Okay, so for the first rule, whenever I travel, I take with me books like Strange Pilgrims by Garcia Marquez, Paula by Isabel Adani, I think that's Diva Dada by Osmood Tesca. Okay, the second example goes with Rule 4. Davis donated $10,000 to the earthquake victims. Gene, $15,000. Again, unpause the video when you are done writing these two examples underneath each rule. Okay, I just want to point out a special note that an elliptical clause in an elliptical clause, some words are left out. However, the logic of the complete sentence makes it clear. Okay, let's check our understanding. The sentence that precedes a semicolon should be a dependent clause. Again, pause the video until everyone has answered, and then we'll click to reveal the right answer. You got it. The answer was no. Okay, which of the following punctuation marks would you use between these two sentences? Again, punctuation marks give clarity to writing. A seasoned writer uses them effectively. So which of the following punctuation marks would you use between these two sentences? Unpause the video when you're done. You got it. It was a semicolon. Let's review some pitfalls. Don't use semicolons with coordinating conjunctions or to introduce a list. Again, write this down and unpause the video when you're done with the writings. Okay, so for example, Thompson eats junk food a lot and he is obese. Rationale before coordinating conjunctions, use a comma and not a semicolon. Okay, and the second one. These are the sport events I love to watch: baseball, tennis, and hockey. Rationale to introduce a list, use a colon and not a semicolon. So the watch should have been a colon as opposed to a semicolon. Okay, do not use semicolons between a dependent clause and the rest of the sentence or between unrelated sentences. So again, pause the video until you've written that down and then we'll look at the examples. So for example, as Smith has gone to leave, Beth has to take charge of things. The sentence that precedes a semicolon has to be an independent clause, and that was not. So don't put a semicolon there. Wilson is my friend. I love to read poetry. The rationale, the sentences before and after the semicolon are not thematically connected, so a period has to be used in place of the semicolon. Okay, let's check our understanding again. Which punctuation mark would you use after the dependent clause in the following sentence? Having said that Paul left the place. Would you use a comma, colon, or semicolon? Okay, let's reveal the answer. You are right, a comma. We don't use a semicolon after a dependent clause, only an independent clause. So now let's get ready to use our clickers, our Smart Response XE. If you do not have a Smart Response system, then we'll just reveal the answers after everyone has guessed or wrote down their answer. Excuse me, not guess. You know the answer. So here's our first one. Pause the video until everyone has done answering the question, and then we'll reveal the answer. Okay, if you said false, you got it right. Next sentence. You got it right if you said no. Okay, another one. You got it right. The answer is A. Here's our next question. Again, pause the video until everyone is done. You got it. Yes. Again, pause the video until everyone is done. You got it. Is yes. 2 more questions. Again, pause the video. You got it. And our last question. You got it. Great job again today, Generals. We will wrap up with the English grammar tomorrow. Have a great day.